Our next session is focused on the TECHNOMALLs are arriving, the age of excellence and innovation in shopping. The time is right for malls that will replicate the smartphone experience. Multimedia galleries, augmented reality, malls empowered by technology in every aspect and at every angle. This session is a showcase of excellence to recreate innovation in shopping center management. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pump up the volume and the energy levels and welcome our panel on stage. Please put your hands together for Mr. Deepak Yadav, Associate Vice President, Retail Business Development, Shopper Stop. A warm welcome to Mr. Deepesh Asnani, Director, Ashima Mall, Bhopal. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Puneet Verma, AVP, Marketing and Corporate Communications, In Orbit Malls. Please welcome Mr. S.P. Reddy, Chairman and Managing Director, SLN Terminus Mall, Hyderabad. A warm welcome to Mr. Of course, we've got Mr. N. Satyanarayan already on stage. A warm welcome to Mr. Siddharth Sehgal, Mall Mechanic and Managing Director, Beyond Square Feet Mall Management. Please welcome Mr. Siddharth Sehgal. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome our moderator, Mr. Pankaj Ranjan, Managing Director, Retail Services, JLL.
Good afternoon. I know it's a tough one to do after lunch, but thanks for the panelists for bearing with us and coming in. Mr. Satyanarayan, the presentation was really, really impressive. So what we're talking about is how is technology overtaking the retail business, and what can we do in our own businesses as retailers, developers, and as advisors to this part of, and various consultants around us, all of us, and incorporate the new age technology to make the shopping centers and the shopping experience better for our consumers. What I have is a small video. This is something which IKEA is already doing and it's testing in some of the markets. So you can actually, before you go and shop, you can actually download the application on your computer or iPad or phone and visualize and select what will look good in your drawing room or your living room or your bedroom. And so the decision making is actually, or the buying process is not starting in the store. It is starting already in the customer's mind, in his own house. He's already kind of made up his mind what he's going to come and shop by the time he reaches the store. So, you know, that's what I want to speak to our panelists, and particularly with the retailers and the developers, is what are they planning to do in their own sphere to catch on to this age of techno malls which are arriving and the retailing which is going to change. Some more key examples which I wanted to share also, which will set the tone for the discussion. Westfield, which is one of the largest mall developers a lot of us would know about globally, particularly in Australia and even in Europe, they have something called searchable malls. So they've done this is a pilot project which they're doing, wherein you download the application. The entire directory and all the information relating to the mall is there on your pad or your phone. You can actually see which stores are there. What is the collection? Each of the stores which are there in the mall, their collections are already uploaded in that app pad. So in the application. So you can actually, as a customer, see and decide in terms of what I want to shop, like if I want to go into this store, what are the kind of collections available. I can do, and with a lot of the information is already available to me before I reach the store. So this is something which Westfield is already doing and testing out. Walmart is working with GE and to create an eye bulb, which is incorporating the beacon technology in the bulb itself. So as a retailer, you don't have to put special beacons in each store to relay offers to the customer who's walking in through your mall or your store. So what will happen is when the customer walks into the store, through the bulb itself, will detect the application on the person's phone, and customized offer as he's walking through the aisles will keep coming and popping up on his phone itself. Automated parking lots, and this is one example which in detail Mr. Satyanarayan shared. In Korea, there's an innovation which is not technology, but it's a simple thing which one parking lot did. It's an open parking lot. What they did was they placed balloons tied to a string on each parking lot. And the balloon is a helium-filled balloon that's tied to a string, and it is hanging in the air. And so the customer who comes into the parking lot, averagely they calculated spends about half a kilometer going around in the mall or in a parking lot to find a parking spot. When he comes in, he can see if the parking lot is empty, the balloon is up. So he can see where there is a balloon is up, there is an empty parking lot, he just goes directly there instead of searching. And as soon as he goes and parks in the parking lot, because it's tied to a string, the car comes in, the string pushes the balloon down. And as the car exits, the balloon goes back again. So it's not technology, it's very simple, but somebody's done it and somebody thought about it. But it made the life of the consumer very easy because so when he's coming into the car, he sees, oh, where the balloons are empty, there is a parking slot. So there's nothing with technology, he just knows where direction to go into instead of keep searching around. Targeted product search, some of these stores are doing is, you are in a store and you can, on your pad or your phone or whatever device which you are carrying, you can actually see the entire merchandise of the store without virtually trying it on. So these are augmented reality screens which are there in the store. So eliminating the need of trying which fit what, 5 times going to the trial room and seeing which one fits you. So the entire collection is there on the pad. You just stand in front of the screen. It will virtually tell you what and make you look and will project you on the screen and tell you how you can look in this particular fit, what colors are suiting you, what's not, which you feel better. So you're actually eliminating the need and enhancing the shopping experience of the customer. Digital storefronts. A lot of retailers we know in India also are experimenting with digital storefronts. So in malls, we see shopfronts which are passive, trying to see if we can see these, and there's been experimented now already internationally, is that these storefronts can be made more interactive, can display a lot more information on the products and services or goods which are available inside the stores. So rather than these being simple passive screens, these are interactive. The people can come and play around with it, can spend some time. It can give a lot more information than just being simple merchandising displays. So now I'll open the discussion with the panelists, and let me start with Deepak. Deepak, since you represent one of the leading retailers and probably the first ones who set up shop as back as 1999, and that's where the organized retail story really started. In saying, from a retailer's perspective, and you seeing that the e-commerce business coming in, people are getting more technology enabled, the Flipkarts and Snapdeals of the world started with the mobile, they started with websites and now straight away moving to applications business and completely changing. And how this business is changing. So what are you doing in your business to incorporate technology in to make the customer experience better?
Thank you, Pankaj. See, at Shoppers Stop, we have been the market leader in department store category for many number of years now. But we have been seeing changes because customer taste and preference has been changing. If you see the young generation of customer today, they are more demanding, they are hard pressed on time, and they are convenience seeker. So me as a retailer has to see that the customer who enters my store, he's been taken care of, he's been getting the good variety of stuff in my store, he's billed on time. So when he enters the store in the specific time frame, he has to shop as much as he can, and then it's benefit to us. So yes, for that, a role of technology is very important, as you rightly said, and I was seeing the CPS presentation. Shoppers did got some impact from e-commerce, but not much. We are still growing healthy, over 12% over last year. We just posted our result. But what we have done, and this is basically a learning, we all are learning right now in this market. So what we have done in Shopper Stop, the unique things. So earlier we used to have huge cash counter in time of sale period. There were huge queues. We see lots of customers, they just used to drop their bag. They were not shopping with us, they're going back. So this became a major cause of concern that we are losing 7 to 8% customers because we are not able to entertain them. So we recently just introduced an iPad technology in stores where we are removing all cash counters. We'll only have one cash counter at one level. On every floor, one of the sales staff will have that iPad. You can get your billing done through that iPad if you are carrying a card. You will get a virtual bill on your mobile phone through an SMS. If you want a printoutable, you will get it. But that technology certainly saves so many customers who just want to buy two stuff, who's hard pressed on time. This real technology has helped to bring that convenience back. Secondly, we have introduced our app technology. All our offer for First Citizen is available on the app. We are also available online. We have a 24/7 website where you can shop anything. Then we are moving to the omni-channel technology where if you shop from my website, you will have certain offers which is available at my store, which you can redeem those offers in the store. Vice versa, when you shop from my store, you will have some offers which you can redeem through website. The other thing which we are trying to do is not basically a home delivery kind of model, but yes, if you come to my store, you have selected something, but you don't get a size. So suppose you shop at Andheri store, but you don't have a size for you. What we have done, we'll bill it for you, we'll deliver at your home, or maybe next time, the nearest Shopper Stop you're visiting, you can carry the product from there. So these are all basic things which we have done and the results are really good. We are working on lots of the stuff which I can't disclose right now, but Shopper Stop is, this year we are heavily investing in technology to see how best we can take the advantage of this.
So Deepak, that's something which you're innovating in your own business model and saying, catering to making the shopping experience much better for a consumer standpoint and making it more technology driven. But when you are part of a shopping center, what is the expectations of yours as a retailer from the shopping center and the shopping center owner? Because we have a lot of people on our panel and particularly from the audience who are shopping center owners here or managers of shopping centers. That what is you think they required need to do and in what aspects to incorporate technology in these centers?
See, the first thing I'll say in one line, today a shopping center owner and a retailer have to make a collective effort, which barring few malls, like maybe I can take example of Select City Walk today. So the collective effort is not there with shopping centers. They talk big, but they actually are not delivering on ground. If you see, today I was talking about in the session that multi-discounting offer. So I was in Indonesia recently, I saw that when you enter in a mall, you get an SMS of multi-discounting offer. So suppose you are going in a hypermarket, you shop in a hypermarket, you get 7 discounts which you can redeem in the same mall in other shop. This is one very unique thing. So we have, I feel that shopping center one is starting from the parking aspect. So parking has to be digitalized. It may be on some app-based model when I'm entering in a mall and I know only over 2 hours. So in 2 hours, what else I can shop? I can shop selective varieties. So can I have an app when I know that I'm entering into X mall, 200 parking bays are vacant, I can go and shop. Otherwise, my half an hour is wasted in parking. Secondly, when I enter into the mall, what all is available in the mall? So technology, of course, is going to play a big role that you know what all kind of offers are being done. And collectively, you have to see that all offers are being integrated. The biggest thing is, all retailers are running their loyalty programs. One CK is running, one Shopper Stop is running, one Lifestyle is running, but nobody is willing to share their data. So I think mall developer and retailers should share the data of that customer because he is coming from that specific catchment. If you can combine that data and trap that customer to bring as much as they can come again to your mall, that is very, very important. We are still not reached to that stage, but I think this is one of the areas we are looking at. Can we merge the integrate entire data of customers and use to the benefit of the shopping center?
You know, with that, I want to come to Puneet because Puneet, I know you represent the same group company as Shoppers and you're on the other side as a developer of, and where Shoppers would be a tenant of yours. So some of the questions, things which, Deepak has raised is very, very pertinent to the fact that the mall developers, the initiative is still lacking. They're not doing that much. But is it something, why holding the developers back to invest in the new age platform?
No, I think I look at it a different way altogether. I think Deepak was saying that we need to, work jointly on a lot of our marketing programs to drive the footfalls. It's very important to understand that, how together we can co-create these programs. So understanding each other's marketing calendars to begin with. Other can be, for example, when we are doing a promotion, before finalizing the promotion, talk to our retailers how they can participate. Also suggest ways how to improve footfalls in the mall. So we can work jointly a lot in these parameters.
So it's a constant using engagement process.
Has to be.
Right. So, and coming to Dipesh, you represent a successful mall in a tier 2 market wherein we are seeing the influence of online retail is much more because the customers have suddenly got experience to shop for many more brands which they never had access to because they were not physically available in stores. So how are you coping up with your mall with the new changing evolution of technology?
Right, so first I will, given a developer perspective, so I'm operating a mall in Tier 2 city. So the basic problem is, and this is to retailers also, that we have to go from standardization to personalization. That's the need of the hour. So, the guy sitting in Delhi, Mumbai cannot make a pan-India policy and then stick to it. Not even a single retailer has come to me, okay, this is your city. You understand it better than me. Let's create an innovative plan for the city. On the contrary, what has been seen that they will always come with standardized plans. Okay, like this is what the HO has decided, and that is what they want to go through. Secondly, like e-commerce, I was just having a talk with Satya before this actually panel discussion, and he has promised me to share a pan-India parking data for these when big sales day have been announced. So what actually was a change in number of cars coming in, number of bikes coming in, vis-a-vis when the sale was not there. So you need to understand exactly before tackling how you will go ahead and like just, thinking out of the box and going for something sci-fi, that okay, this is e-commerce is coming and let's just do this. First you should understand, sit back, analyze the data and understand that what is happening on the ground actually, then before planning.
Thanks, Dipesh. I'd come to Mr. Reddy. Mr. Reddy, I understand your background has been a technocrat and now you decided to make malls and your first mall is opening doors very soon. So, since you don't come from a real estate background, and you come from a technology background, if you were to incorporate the next age mall, what do you think it will look like? And what have you done in your mall which you're planning to do from a technology standpoint?
Definitely not a mall that's like James Bond, like you see in James Bond movies. Okay, it's very expensive, so let's not even think about it. See, one of the most fundamental things, I mean, I've lived in US for 25 years, built large systems across the world. Basically, in India, what I've seen, I've moved here in 5 years, we have seen a lot of developers building malls, retailers are going in. Now these days the buzzword is smart cities, smart malls. In fact, technology should be a part of an organization. First of all, each developer or a retailer should ask themselves, and especially the developers, is IT, information technology, is part of their department or not? Is there a line item in their budget?
And when you've interacted with retailers and developers, did you find that is there?
It's not.
It's not.
It's not. I spoke recently last year at SAP Real Estate Conference. I was one of the lead speakers. It was geared towards more of a developers. Developers should consider information technology as part of their department, and there should be a line item budget for that. To invest in technology. And technology is not necessarily expensive, but there's a fear of, change management. If you don't have a technology-driven company, it's always difficult to implement systems. Now you can do simple things as you suggested, as you said, like a parking lot management system where you have the balloon, that tells you whether the parking lot is full or not. I think there are simple things that you could do in a mall like we did in my mall. One is the back office building management system is automated. I think we need to kind of be a little smarter and kind of see how we can bring the cost of operation of a mall down. So your common area maintenance, let's get to the basics, okay? how you could bring the common area maintenance charges and fees down so that my retailer, my tenant is happy about it.
But
How
Mr.
effectively
Reddy,
can
the
do it.
constant question which a developer faces is the upfront cost very high to set up this technology platform?
Yes and no. Okay, it all depends. As I said, you can implement basic technology instruments in the mall. Okay, as you know today, e-commerce buzz is going on. It's a $1.2 million space. Footfalls are falling down. Now, how do you bring that physical experience of a person going into the mall and shopping? You could do innovative things, cross-selling. Once you have to track the customer, you have to build loyalty programs within your mall. Like you could do, okay, in my case, we are experimenting where we could issue a card called SLN Terminus Loyalty Reward Program. So if somebody shops at Spar and shops about 10,000 rupees, how I can cross-sell, I can probably have them go and get a free coffee at Starbucks. Okay, how do you cross-sell? So for that, you need a collaborative mechanism for all the retailers to participate in it and show them the upside. And that's very critical. See, technology, I've implemented technology throughout the world. It's expensive stuff if you think it's expensive. It's not if you don't think it is. But you have to start somewhere. You have to be engaged in technology today in order to survive in this economy or in the future economy. There's no way you can survive by not implementing certain basic technology systems into your mall management, whether it is pulling the customers in, assets tracking. All of this needs to be automated. And sometimes when I go to certain malls, I feel as if I'm in a Baghdad green zone with hundreds of security people. Okay? So you need to reduce. How do you reduce that? By implementing command centers, technology-wise, ensuring that, and also make the customer feel more secure in a given mall. So technology is expensive, but again, that should not be override your decisions. You can start off small, and you can scale it up. In fact, I just met a gentleman here who said, he has an application. Now everybody talks about app. Everybody can develop app in 2 hours. You go to IIIT, you see people developing apps, throwing it on the net. So, but the thing is, how do you close the loop? How do you close the shopper's experience loop? How do you track? What is the data analytics, data mining, understanding the behavior of the customer? Airlines have done a fantastic job. In fact, I would tell, I think Starbucks guys are here, they're one of the leading companies in the world who have implemented successfully reward program through which they were able to generate more than 14 or 15% of revenue up every year. It's simply because of the rewards program they've done. So there are innovative ways of doing it. One is the physical infrastructure, technology management. The other one is the marketing and sales. How you manage that and how you collaboratively do that is very critical.
Thanks, Mr. Reddy. Coming to you, Siddharth, since you're the head of business, which is mall management, and as Deepak said, Puneet said, it's your work aligned together. Mr. Reddy clearly said that it's how you network between the retailer and developer first to understand the customer and how you implement it. But from a customer standpoint, since you manage some of these malls, what is a customer coming in and what is their feedback in terms of saying, how are they looking at an experience? Is it just a box with multiple brands, or are they looking at it as one big space or a virtual thing which is in a physical mall?
Hi, thanks. I'm Siddharth. I represent a company called Beyond Square Feet. We are asset managers. So our job is to increase the valuation of an asset, of a retail real estate asset. I'm a retailer first, and then on the other side of retail real estate. So having set up the first central for Future Group and then setting up the Bombay Airport in terms of retail, and then running few successful malls for different developers. First thing I would like to say is that e-retail, which is becoming a big concern, as we call it, from a retailer's perspective and a mall developer's perspective. I think we should look at the other way around. I think it's actually opening India up, and it's actually opening doors to customers to be exposed to different brands, to be exposed to different merchandise which they never thought of buying before. So really speaking, e-retail is actually helping growing the kitty. What goes forward, we all know in terms of the investments required even for e-retail or for mall development. So putting that aside, getting back to your question, as a customer, we see that customers, when they enter a mall, and it's moving very quickly in terms of the exposure that they have abroad, internationally, or in India. So tier 1 city exposures are now being replicated in tier 2, and that's how it's progressing. For a customer, when they come to a mall, they want to see a seamless experience. That's what they're looking at. So right from, and the experience starts right from the security, the parking lots, before you enter the mall. So from a customer's perspective, yes, technology is important. But how is the technology helping the customers? How is the technology helping the mall owner is also the developer. So in terms of various perspectives which customers have, so you can't always make all the customers happy. But then there's a certain level of experience that customers look at. And I think going back to retail, and if there are retailers here, they can connect with this, what I say is that the first experience is the most important, but the last experience is more important. Because any kind of bad experience that customers might have had in the mall or in the shopping center actually get eradicated once they're moving out. So if the experience going out, so this is actually a great example is the Mumbai airport, the new international terminal which people might have seen. So the whole idea and the ideology of GVK and Mr. Sanjay Reddy was that when people come into the country, they have a good experience. But when they go out or they move out, it's far better. And again, taking an example in queue from duty-free shopping, it's an experience. People who've gone through duty-free now expect that to happen in shopping centers. So it's not really about technology here which contributes, but it's also about the experience which we give or provide to our customers. And technology, of course, plays a major role. I think technology has endless, unlimited usage, and I can go on and on about it. But really speaking, I'll give you an example which is cost-effective. Unlike people might feel that technology is expensive, sending out emailers or even a Facebook page. It was surprising. There was a mall in South Africa. 3 months before opening the mall, right? The mall started sending out emailers, Facebook invites to people and customers of the database. The day the mall opened, they had 30,000 customers on the database. So 30,000 Facebook likes, 30,000 customers waiting for the mall to open. I mean, that's what technology can do, and that's what people are looking at. I mean, the youth of today.
It's not very expensive. Because
it's not expensive. It's actually inexpensive is the word. So 30,000 customers on the first day of your mall opening. Imagine, there are people waiting. I mean, forget about the other kind of customers you've been advertising, hoardings, radio, etc. 30,000 customers waiting to enter your mall. And these guys have been tracking the mall progress all throughout. So the mall was smart enough to upload pictures of the mall as and when the progress would happen, as and when the fit-outs going on, external, exterior pictures. It's beautiful. I mean, so unlike what we feel is technology, and then coming back to what Mr. Reddy just said here about using technology for the betterment of the mall itself, from where developers in place. Trust me, BMS systems, that is building management systems, people my colleagues who've used it here, will vouch for it, that actually save 20 to 30% in energy costs. And actually the ROI is just about 2 or 3 years that you can recover. But imagine it's your building, it's your mall for 15 years. Imagine the kind of money you must have saved after you use this system. So technology is fantastic. I think it's great. This was unheard of 10 years back or 12 years back, but now this usage is endless.
Tell me, Siddharth, from an experience perspective, do you see the online convergence of the online business in the shopping center somehow?
Definitely. I mean, we've been actually talking to retailers, and my retailers or colleagues, and they've worked with me before in the same organizations, and we kind of share that. I mean, a simple thing, like if you can't find a trouser in a pantaloon store, right? Why don't you have just an online or a tablet lying there at the cashier?
So that's what Deepak was saying.
Exactly.
So you get delivered to your house, probably.
Exactly. Or delivered to your house, or at least identify where it is. You can actually pay at the cash till, and then it comes home, right? So it's an extension. The shop or the store really becomes an extension of your online portal. And you will never lose sales. Imagine a scenario, and today's date, the basic pain for a retailer is logistics, in terms of maintaining sizes, in terms of color, designs. Imagine if something is missing and someone likes it, even if it's a watch, you book it at the store and it gets delivered. Fantastic.
And I remember an example which I saw, a video wherein, I think is again one of these South Korean one country, wherein they put a hypermarket put a virtual store on the metro stations. So what you do is when you're going in the morning, all the items are listed, which is simple things, Kellogg's, juices, this, that, rice, X, Y, and Z. So you just go punch in, pay through your credit card, and when you're going to work, so you're at the metro station, you just punch in, you've got 10 minutes, you punch in your requirements or the supplies for the day, and when you punch in what time do you want it delivered. So by the time you reach home, the person is at your doorstep waiting with the merchandise.
I don't think that's going to work in India. Okay.
And why is that?
In India, we go to work at 10. Have you realized that? And we come back at 6, 6:30, and you have a chauffeur-driven car, you have servants at home, you have maids at home. I think we are taking this technology topic to a very different level in this country. Okay?
But Ms. Reddy, I just little beg to differ, and I've seen that practically happen in the last 5 years in a city like Gurgaon, which is probably, I would say, the most urban representative for the culture of this country. I've seen CEOs of companies actually take the metro to work, because parking and fact of the matter, the roads are really, really messy. And the metro experience and the maintenance of that system is brilliant. So and we have an office in Gurgaon, and the metro station is right across, and almost 40 to 50% of the people 40% people live in Gurgaon, 60% live in Delhi, and various parts which are about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And they said 2 hours we cannot drive to home, but we didn't want to leave our parents' homes or the comfort where we live. And these guys come by metro, and and they say the experience is phenomenal.
Yeah, but you have to, look at the size of the market. Okay?
Yeah, I'm saying it could be small selection of the market.
You look at the size of the market. Look at the logistics. Look at the supply chain. We still don't have hands around it. Okay? It's good we talk about these things, but in practicality, I've seen several companies in the United States, in North America, where companies like WebMD, which wanted with sophisticated supply chain, crashed. Okay, and you have this store at this company in Bangalore called, they supply food, groceries, it's called Big Basket. And the logistics is a nightmare. In Bangalore, 20 minutes in Hyderabad, in Bangalore, it's 1 hour, 20 minutes, or it could be 1 hour, 50 minutes, or it could be 2.5 hours. Look at the size, and we have to make sure, is it feasible? Is it feasible to do these things? Is the most important thing. I mean, you can implement the greatest technology in the world, but if you don't get the supply chain right, you're killed. And in the supply chain masters, companies like Walmart, okay, who have got sophisticated, knows the behavior, knows which item is moving fast, which product is moving, what's the shelf life of the product. That kind of data analytics need to be driven. They are doing it. As you rightly said, it may be in Gurgaon, I'm a busy guy, I'm a CEO, but how many people are going to do that? What does it take to supply? The guy is bleeding. The guy is bleeding trying to deliver the product, and it's not profitable. These dot-coms in 2000 tanked big time in US, and we were part of, and I was part of that e-commerce era in those 2000. I see all that is being replicated in India, and I strongly feel it's not going to stay for too long. Today you require $20 billion for Flipkart to survive for the next 5 years. Where are they going to raise capital? What's the supply chain looks like? And some of these companies are setting up their stores to get acquired, okay, all over the world. So we got to be careful when you're trying to embrace technology in real estate, in physical infrastructure and also in the virtual world, and also driving customer behavior, understanding the customer behavior. Understanding is one part, but how do you deliver that satisfaction to that customer? We have to make access to our malls, to our retail centers, hassle-free. Getting in and getting out should be hassle-free. If you can address those issues, with implementing limited technologies, I think we can overcome. I mean, people say all kinds of stuff, e-commerce is going to take over, nobody is going to go to shopping centers. Guys, it's not going to happen. People will still go, people will still shop, but technology is going to play a key role in retailers. They have to think ways to pull customers in and also understand the customer behaviors. And that is very critical going forward in the next few years.
Coming to, with that, Mr. Reddy, what you raised is the experience and the hassle and getting the customer in. And, really brings up the parking thing. Mr. Satyanarayana, and we saw your video as well, which you shared. Tell two things, two aspects of my question. One is implementing a technology-driven parking solution from a setup cost from a developer standpoint. How expensive it is and what's the return on investment from a developer standpoint? Secondly, from an experience standpoint, what have you seen in India and what is the resistance of adopting modern technology in parking? Because I still find that most people we talk to, and the retailers give that feedback, and I'm sure Deepak and also experiences that, they first want to understand is how the customer is going to get in. And we were having a chat over a plan just before, minutes before the session, and his first question was, how's the customer coming in? His question is not where my store is. His question was, how's my customer coming in? But I don't find that developers still adopting that very progressively. So if you can shed some light on that.
Hello. I seem to be having some AV issues today. I think to address the first question, we've been working on the ROI in terms of using technology which is far ahead of what is being utilized today. And what we find is that the technology that we adopt has a direct correlation to the operating cost. And when you take this equation into account, your average payback is somewhere between 3 to 4 years for an average size mall. So if you take the life of the mall, say at least 15 years, this kind of works extremely well. The other factor that I want to tell you today is that though we are a country of 1.2 billion people, to find people to be employed in bottom of the pyramid business like parking is extremely difficult. We get people, train them, lose them to people like Shopper Stop, to many other places. So I think that is the key challenge. So we clearly think technology is useful. Number two question that you said, how do people soak in technology? We have Mr. Sanjeev Mehra here, and when we were working on the Quest Mall, he was very insistent on using technology, like auto pay stations, etc., etc. This is probably one of the first malls which has a completely prepayment kind of a system, so you don't have queues at the exit. And when he said, I was a little doubtful actually, but he had the confidence, and he said we must use it. And after the center opened about 4 weeks later, and one of the Sundays I was standing in the basement and watching how people are adopting to using an auto pay machine, a machine where you pay for your parking and then you exit out. And I saw that there was a distance of about 8 feet between the machine, and there were like 20 guys standing there watching what's happening. So I was like wondering, why is this crowd here? So these guys were drivers of different cars waiting to see the next guy who pays the money and how he pays it. This was, I think, in the month of July, August. So there was like 20 guys standing there and watching how this is done. And again, I made a trip somewhere during the Durga Puja, and there was nobody there. There was nobody there. So I can tell you that, people are extremely savvy. Indians are extremely quick learners, and I don't think we have to have the fear of technology adaptation. I think people quickly learn. So that's the two answers.
Thank you, Mr. Satyanarayana.
I think just adding to what Satya just said, and I've been lucky enough to have an experience with a few of my friends working for the Mall of Istanbul in Istanbul. And this is just adding on to what Satya said, maybe on a grassroots or base level. It's interesting to note that anybody building a mall in Istanbul, the design team of the mall, the onus of the entry and the exit has to be designed by the architects of the mall. So the government requires them to actually take a satellite picture of the location, plan out in terms of the infrastructure required from the government for the entry and exit of vehicles, and then once the proposal goes through, can they start building a mall. So it's actually so important and so interesting that, you know, it's a joint collaborative effort from both the government and the developer to make sure that the mall becomes successful.
But you know, I've attended enough images conferences where we have a debate on this dais, and I've heard sitting there as well allotment time, and we say that the government, we should tell the government to do this. But unfortunately in this country, let's be honest about it, I saw a video many years back, this country comes up when our government sleeps. And we probably are more, as a race, we are more proactive and faster. We will adapt to things as much faster before a government, and that's why you see the mall comes up at least faster than the road comes up outside the mall, which is to be built by the
You know what, the politicians have become smart now. We all know that. So politicians are the guys who are investing a lot in real estate. And when a mall's coming up, there's no harm a developer puts in, right, a plan of infrastructure required. And you never know, one of the politicians who has land bank around it will actually get the
we all
through.
have good hopes, and I'm sure they try their best as well, because it's not difficult to rule in it's very difficult to rule in a country which has got 1.2 billion people and various caste, creeds, color, religions, and democracy is at the peak when we can talk. And you know, a GST will be one big thing, which if it gets passed through. So quickly before I summarize, any questions from the audience for any of the panelists? Okay. So. Thanks for being patient with us. Thanks. Sorry, somebody can pass him a mic. If you can introduce yourself as well, so that we'll, and if you have a specific question for any specific panelists also.
Hello. Yeah, so my name is Rajat. I'm from ThoughtWorks Technology.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Hello. Is it better?
Yeah, you'll have to be a little louder.
Hello. So I'm Rajat from ThoughtWorks Technologies, and my question is not specific to some one person. In the beginning of the presentation or this discussion, we spoke about aggregation of information across stores and being exposed to the end users. So how difficult, or like in terms of maturity of capturing catalog data and keeping it updated, how mature are the retailers and in terms of doing that? Because in order to expose that information, you need to aggregate it and keep it refreshed so that if you share it with your customers, it is updated information. So where are we on that? Like,
Deepak, would you want to pick up that? Can I just put that question again to Deepak? It's basically, correct me if I'm wrong, you want to know is that the data in terms of the stores, the stocking which is there, how can you upload it in the system easily, and how would the retailer share it so that it can be uploaded on the app like what Westfield is doing?
So the question is that how, like, in order to digitize that data, that's a process, right? You need a studio, you need to take a photo of those items, and then you have to keep it refreshed so that you know that it is there in your store.
So it's not a one-time, it's a regular process. So would you have, I'm sure your system in the back end would have all that data available, right?
See, we are already using this technology. We are using the real-time software in terms of merchandising. Shopper Stop is doing, when there is no news, people used to say, what is technology? From that day, we are using that. So fairly, we are using this technology.
I remember a couple of years back, Nagesh had mentioned to us is that they know you can exactly track at real-time basis is how many white shirts in which counter are getting sold in which store. So you really know, and then automatically your supply chain automatically knows to stock it up in that store.
As I said earlier, as of now, we have just used this iPad technology. So what we are trying to do with this technology, the first set of technology is make cashless system. You can bill anywhere. The second phase of this technology is the real-time software of merchandise. So somebody wants to buy a white shirt from my store and it's not available, I can easily tell from the real-time software it is available in X, Y, Z location, or it is available in Go Down, tomorrow it is going to come. So the technology we are testing right now, if that happens, that is what we are trying to do in terms of apps also. So if customer or a first citizen, he wants to buy online, through that app, the apps will also tell him that this size today is out of stock, but it is available tomorrow. Maybe if you go on a Flipkart and all, they just say out of stock. But our software is going to also tell him that after 2 days this will be available. So this is what we are trying to do. But one thing I must also like to add, that people here are from the real estate business and retail business. Let's not fear of technology. 5 years back, nobody thought that smartphone will be so successful. We used to do ordinary phone with an SMS. Today, WhatsApp is a key, smartphone is a key. We have fastly adopted to technology. India, people have said, is a country of chaos, but is the fastest growing country. I think technology is for the benefit of everybody. And when we will not see challenge, how will you grow? Otherwise, you will feel yourself redundant, and we are happy what we are doing. Change is always good. So if retailers are coming, it is going to benefit retailers. And in mature market, shopping centers are still surviving and they're doing well. In China, which is such a market, mature market, still the retail sales are 8% like to like year on year. So I think let's see what best the technology can help us.
So Deepak, I think from Shoppers Stop point of view, which is a multi-brand retailer, it is possible to have that data. But from mall point of view, which has multiple brand stores, will it be possible for them to aggregate data from all of them? Like, are the retailers at retail level have that data?
So whether you are aware or not, Select City Walk is making a virtual website of their shopping center where they want to integrate stuff. The issue is the investment in technology is very, very expensive. So they want to integrate. They came to us. We have Mac Clinic, Bobby Brown, Estee Lauder, and Crossword store in that mall. So they want to integrate the merchandise data. So anybody goes on virtual Select City Walk, he can select the product. He will also come to know. But it is a very expensive proposition. People are still evaluating. We are hopeful that someday it will come. But as of now, people are just contemplating.
Right. And my take is to add what Deepak said is, I think it's a question of time and maturity. So we said this Westfield is doing it in one pilot project in Australia. So maybe it will take some time for them to get the perfection in their own markets and see how the customers are matured enough to use it. And I think with the same, or I would say adopted to the Indian mindset and the Indian version of it, which could be maybe a scaled down version, could come in. But as I said, these are just directional pointers to show that the world is changing outside, and our shopping centers will have to do it. Secondly, we are different as well, also. So we still love to touch our things and feel and buy. But some things which will change online, and we've seen that when we were doing shopping centers earlier, books and music was a very important category to do in a mall. Today, we really do a very small representative books and music store, because yes, from a complete experience, you need to provide it. But as a category, it's probably not there. So I think it's going to change as we go by. Technology platforms will get enhanced. The cross-sharing of information and coming from the retailer on the platform for the mall will happen. I think right now we're still in the early days of the maturity cycle, but it's a question of time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the panelists.